Hello, Honors Algebra. This is the video for December 6th. As promised, there will be some extra practice problems. In fact, I'm going to do one of your problems from your homework for you, I should say. Hold on one moment. Okay, I am going to do problem number 38 for you. Oops, I'm not writing. Problem 38, and this is on page 305. Okay, so problem 38 says the absolute value of x plus 5 is less than or equal to 35. I know this is an and problem, right? Because it says less than. All right, remember, absolute value problems almost always have two parts to them. The only exception would be like if you had absolute value of x equaling 0. Well, then x could only equal 0. Otherwise, if there's a solution, there's going to be two solutions, two parts. So the first solution is pretty simple. X plus 5 is less than or equal to 35. Now, I could write it again with the word and then write x plus 5 is greater than or equal to negative 35. But a shortcut to doing all of that would just be to go like this. Because sure enough, if you only look at this part of the inequality, it does say that negative 35 is less than or equal to x plus 5, which means that x plus 5 must be greater than or equal to negative 35. They mean the same thing, right? So it's just a little shortcut for doing that. Okay, so now that I have my setup correctly, remember you cannot do this with ORs. You can't do this with ORs. All right, now I have my setup correctly. I need to get x alone, which means I'll subtract 5. And I'll do it from all three places, right? Leaving me with a negative 40 less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 30. On a number line, I know what ands look like, holding my hands out in front of me as fists, sticking my thumbs so that they touch. That's what ands need to look like. Negative 40, positive 30. I can put a 0 in there if I want. I'm not going to waste my time putting a whole bunch of other marks or numbers, only the numbers that are important. I only put the 0 maybe for a bearing. It's even okay if you don't put the 0. All right. I have closed circle there, a closed point there. I shouldn't call them circles, they're really points. And I should shade in between the points, right? Now I can test it. Pick any number in that region, say like negative 20. If I put negative 20 in for x, is negative 40 less than or equal to negative 20? Yes. Is negative 20 less than or equal to 30? Yes, it is. It works. If you pick a number outside of the region, say like 50, you will not get a true statement. Is negative 40 less than or equal to 50? Yes, it is. Is 50 less than or equal to 30? No, it is not. And since it's an and, both parts need to be true. So notice I haven't changed where the 50 is. Okay, hold on one second. So that's the complete solution for problem number 38. Let's look at a couple more sample problems and see what we do with these. Okay, how about the absolute value of 4x plus 12 is greater than 8. All right, well, let's see here. This is an OR problem. I will write it as two separate problems. 4x plus 12 is greater than 8, or 4x plus 12 is less than negative 8. That will give me both solutions. Remember, when doing absolute values, you must do both solutions. I will get x alone over here, giving me 4x is greater than negative 4. And then I will divide by 4 to get x is greater than negative 1. Okay, notice the inequality did not flip because I did not multiply by a negative or divide by a negative. On this one, I'll subtract 12. 4x is less than negative 20. Dividing by 4 gives me the solution that x is less than negative 5. Or needs to be in my solution. It's one of these two. If we were playing a game and you win if you get a number greater than negative 1 or a number less than negative 5. You lose if you get a number between them. Okay, so the or needs to be in there. All right, my number line, I'll put negative 5 on. I'll put negative 1 on. They're going to be open points, Myriad can tell you, because they do not have an equal sign under them. So the points are equal. Now, where are the numbers greater than negative 1? Well, they are to the right of negative 1. So that is how you graph the first part. The second part, I need x is less than negative 5. That means I will take the numbers less than negative 5, which are to the left of negative 5. And there you go. It's just that easy. The trick is you got to remember that there's two parts. Did I mention that there were two parts? You know what? There's two parts. All right, let's look at a strange one. Let's look at this one. The absolute value of x minus 5 is less than or equal to negative 2. Okay. Now right away, some smart person like James or Andrew is noticing something and warning bells are going off in their head. Whoop, whoop, whoop. They notice something. They're bothered right here. But if you haven't noticed it yet, please continue to watch. All right, it's an and, so I'll write down x minus 5 is less than or equal to negative 2. And doing my little shortcut, I'll put this side, here, let me do that in red so that it shows up a little better. All right, positive 2. Do you realize what I've just said here? This statement that I've written down is telling me that 2, positive 2, is less than or equal to negative 2. Think about it. If A is less than or equal to B, and B is less than or equal to C, isn't it true that A is less than or equal to C? Not sometimes, it's always true. It's always true. So this statement here is telling me that positive 2, right here, is less than or equal to negative 2. We know that's not true. This problem must have no solution. Okay. Now, some of you were able to tell me right there, no solution, and that's fine. You don't have to do a lot of work. Just be careful. Sometimes kids get no solution happy and they go, I can't figure it out. I think I'll write down no solution. And they get the whole problem wrong and don't get any partial credit. All right, can't do that. You've got to make sure you understand what's going on. All right, how would you handle a situation like this? 3x minus 5 is greater than or equal to, let's go with 4. Let's make it negative 4 as a matter of fact. Okay. Now, if you're really sharp, you should know something's going on here. It's not a no solution problem, though. It's not a no solution problem. Let's go ahead and solve it. Let's get 3x minus 5 is greater than or equal to negative 4. Or, because that's a great or, 3x minus 5 is less than or equal to positive 4. All right. Oh, excuse me. So, solving both parts, I'll add 5. 3x is greater than or equal to 1. X is greater than or equal to 1/3. Or, I'll add 5 here and here. 3x will be less than or equal to 9. X will be less than or equal to 3, if I divide by 3, right? Okay, there is my algebraic solution. To graph this on a number line, this is a very special case. Doesn't happen all that often. Get my number line out here. I will show 1/3, and it'll be a closed point because it's equal to. And I will show 3, and it will also be a closed point because it's equal to. Now, I need the numbers that are greater than or equal to 1/3, which would be all those numbers, right? Or I could have the numbers that are less than or equal to 3, which should be all those numbers. What have I shaded? I've shaded the entire number line. This solution would be all real numbers, the real number system. All real numbers. In other words, there is no number for x that doesn't give me a true statement. If I put any number I want in here for x, it will end, the absolute value of it will end up being greater than or equal to -4. Some of you might say, well, that's because it's got to be greater than a negative, and all distances are greater than negative. Exactly. That's exactly right. Okay, so there are some special examples. Now, you did 8 problems for homework. I did one of them for you here. We will do some more practice with these in class tomorrow. And then one thing you'll need to notice tomorrow night's video, during the beginning of the video, it will say December 6th. It will be labeled December 7th, but it'll say December 6th, and I'll even, it'll have it written down as December 6th because I'd already recorded it before I gave you that little formative assessment and realized, uh-oh, they're not ready to move on yet. So it will be labeled December 7th, but the video will talk about the date being December 6th. Just disregard that. Okay, now I know somebody's going to come in the next morning and go, oh, I wasn't sure if I was watching the right video. Well, that'll just tell me they didn't watch this video. All right, anyway, this is Mr. Lawrence signing off. Good night, everybody.